I think something about opera being perceived as this elitist traditional art form, there's absolutely some truth to it. Working as a classical musician, we go into the industry knowing that it is an incredibly demanding one. So at this point, I think the facade that she puts on when she's in Café Momus, it demands a great deal of our time, of our energy, of our commitment for not only us but our families as well.
Oatmeal and eggs, oatmeal or eggs. Yeah.
Jingle ben shady, chicken baby, ben baby. Just making up nonsense words to existing songs.
It takes a community to get an opera singer across and into the space where she is now and lots of others. I didn't have that voice behind me saying it would be okay, but I was able to do that for my girl, so that's great. Yeah.
You always mucked it up.
Lots of different ways to do it.
I am a First Nations soprano. I'm a proud Kawakukuyalanji Waka Waka woman.
There is a tradition of song and a tradition of music in this country that has been here for many thousands of years.
Song and dance was alive out there with First Nations cultures and alive all over this country with First Nations cultures. So it's a beautiful relationship that we can build in storytelling together with Opera Queensland.
There haven't been a great deal of Australian Aboriginal opera singers in the past. Harold Blair is one people will know.
The sun shines bright on my old Kentucky home.
In terms of the history of singing in this country, Nina is part of that tradition.
As will suffice to light lamps.
When I was in grade 8, I had a music teacher just give me a more classical song to get sunk into, and I loved it. I really enjoyed it. It suited my voice really well, and so that was the repertoire that I just kept pursuing and playing with and unpicking, and I really, really fell in love with it. I fell in love with the drama and the characters and the music and the costumes and the sets and the history of it. It was just such a exciting and rich world that I loved being a part of.
We're going to sing a little aria, the Musetta aria, from the second act of La Bohème. Please welcome Nina Korbe.
I think anytime I'm on stage, obviously there's me out there, but at the end of the day I'm there to tell a story and portray a character. So I love spending as much time as I can really finding the psychology of a character that I'm performing and their nuances and their intricacies and their little quirks. I think it's a facade. I think she does love the attention and I think she feeds off it, but I think it's because she knows that that's her power, her beauty and her allure. Because you need to think about, particularly in the context of an opera, what's gotten you to this point, as you would with any play or any character that you're working on. And for me, this psychological is a huge thing. I would be quite uncomfortable walking onto a stage if I didn't understand the psychology of a character I was playing. If I can think like that character, then I feel so much more comfortable just dropping into them and letting them take over when I'm on stage. I want to be able to reach people and make them feel something, or bring them an experience that is either similar to something they might be feeling in their own lives, or so they can relate, or something that's completely different so it's an escape. Whatever it is, at the end of the day, we're there to serve our audience. There are two women that instantly come to my mind in terms of great Australian opera singers. There's Dame Nellie Melba and Dame Joan Sutherland. And what was so strikingly beautiful about them is they were unashamedly Australian. They performed at the top houses all over the world, but not for 1 second did anyone forget that they were Australian. And not to say that I at all deserve to be mentioned in nearly the same breath as either of them, but they are the representation that I follow. Something about taking opera into regional areas, particularly like the Festival of Outback Opera, which I was fortunate enough to travel to with Opera Queensland this year, is we don't have the luxury of our theatres. We don't have the sets. We don't have the same kind of extravagant lighting rigs or hair and makeup teams, or even the same scale of an orchestra necessarily. So what it forces us to do as performers is be more truthful. We can't rely on all the extravagance, we just have to tell the stories, which I think is a really exciting opportunity. And at the end of the day, that's all opera is. It's stories, it's telling the truth. It's telling the truth about our world that we live in, the world that we have come from, and the world that we hope to see.